What happens when a 74-year-old woman just tries to help, walking a neighbor's dog and making dinner for her family? Instead of gratitude, she's told, "You look like an old bag from the street." What she did next brought her entire family to their knees. But not in the way you'd expect. You know what I hate more than arthritis? The way people start treating you like you are arthritis the moment you turn 70. They don't see a person. They see creaks and wrinkles and the number of pills you keep on the kitchen counter. They don't see the woman who once organized charity drives, marched for veterans' rights, and raised a daughter on one salary and 2 hours of sleep a night. Now they see Grandma. And Grandma is supposed to shut up, sit down, and stay out of the mirror. Well, not this Grandma. Let me tell you how this mess started. It began with a dog and a coat. Every morning, I wake up at 6. Not because I have to, but because I still can. I stretch my back, crack my knees, and make the strongest cup of coffee this side of New Jersey. Then I head down the street to walk Winston, a spoiled terrier with the attitude of a CEO and the bladder control of a toddler. His owner broke her hip last year, and since then, I've been walking him for free. Why? Because helping someone else keeps me human. That morning, I threw on my old caramel wool coat, the one my late husband gave me the year before he passed. It still smelled like cedar and winter. It still felt like love. And apparently, that was the problem. I came back home, cheeks flushed from the cold, Winston trotting by my side like he'd conquered Rome. I opened the door, stepped inside, and there stood my daughter, Mary. She didn't say good morning. She didn't ask how I was. She looked me up and down and said, "Mom, are you seriously still wearing that thing? You look like someone left you on a park bench." I stood there, with frozen hands and a warm heart, and she cut straight through it like a razor. Her tone wasn't worried. It was embarrassed. "I was just walking the dog," I said. Mary scoffed. "You look like you belong with the dog. It's depressing." Now here's the thing about raising kids. You hope they'll grow up to be better than you. But sometimes they just grow up meaner and better at hiding it. Her son, my grandson, Zach, sauntered into the room at that exact moment, headphones around his neck, smelling like apathy and body spray. He looked at me, then at his phone, and without even blinking, muttered, "Yikes." One word, no explanation, just yikes. As if I were a rotting sandwich he accidentally made eye contact with. I could have screamed, but I didn't. Because screaming doesn't change people. It just makes your throat hurt. Instead, I poured myself a cup of coffee, sat down at my kitchen table, and listened as my daughter FaceTimed a friend, saying things like, "Yeah, I love her." But she's starting to look confused, like she forgets what year it is. Let me be clear. I haven't forgotten a damn thing. Not the year. Not the sacrifices. Not the fact that I paid off this house and now live in it with 2 freeloaders who act like I'm the burden. Later that day, I went to the store for milk and apples. I wore the same coat because it was cold, and I wasn't about to freeze for the sake of their fragile egos. In the produce aisle, I saw an old friend, or rather, an old frenemy. Diane, you know the type. Plastic smile, sharper than her heels. She tilted her head when she saw me. "Helen? Oh, wow. You've really gone vintage, huh?" I laughed politely. She leaned in and whispered, "I always tell my kids, never let yourself go, you know?" "Oh, I know, Diane. I know exactly what you mean. And I also know you've had more work done on your face than a classic car restoration. But I didn't say that. Because dignity still matters. Even when it's being stripped from you one comment at a time. When I got home, Mary had taken the liberty of cleaning out my closet. "You'll thank me," she said. "Some of these clothes just scream retirement home." I stared at her, at the mess she made, at the shoes she tossed aside like garbage. That coat, my coat, was missing. I found it folded in a garbage bag near the back door. No discussion, no permission, just trash. And that's when something cracked. Not loudly, not dramatically, just snapped. A quiet, seething realization. They didn't see me as a person anymore. They saw a burden in beige. And if I didn't do something soon, I'd disappear completely, coat and all. So I took that coat, brushed it off, and hung it right back on the hallway hook. Let them look at it. Let it haunt them like the ghost of everything they don't understand. Strength, survival, self-respect. Because I wasn't going anywhere. And I sure as hell wasn't changing for anyone. What came next flipped the entire game upside down. Trust me, you do not want to miss what happened when I stopped staying quiet. You ever feel like you're being erased while you're still breathing? That was me, sitting at my own kitchen table, drinking my own coffee, while my daughter and grandson walked around like I was just another piece of dusty furniture, too heavy to throw out, too awkward to use. After the coat incident, something shifted. Not in them, in me. I started seeing things differently. The subtle power plays, the little humiliations, the way they spoke about me when I was in the room. Not to me. And the kicker? They thought they were helping. Mary started leaving pamphlets on the counter. Senior living options. Downsizing with dignity. Letting go. A mindful approach to late-life transitions. Cute, right? One of them had a smiling woman on the cover wearing pastel slacks and clapping at a bingo table like she'd just won the lottery, and not a scented candle. I stared at that pamphlet like it had personally slapped me. Then came the dinner scene. I cooked, like always, roasted chicken, real mashed potatoes, not from a box, gravy from scratch, not some powdered salt masquerading as food. Set the table, lit a damn candle. Zach walked in, looked at the meal, and said, "We still doing the whole sit-down dinner thing? That's quaint." He microwaved leftover pizza and went upstairs. Mary picked at her food like it was a tray of regrets. And me? I sat there, hands trembling, heart boiling, and realized they didn't want me. They wanted the house, the fridge, the free babysitting. The savings account I had built from 40 years of clipping coupons and working part-time jobs nobody respected. And if they could convince me I was old, irrelevant, and out of touch, I'd just fade out quietly. Well, wrong, Grandma. You see, I started keeping notes. Everything they said. Every time they forgot to tell me about a bill. Every time they rolled their eyes or made jokes about memory loss. Then came the haircut. Oh, honey, that was the tipping point. I've worn my hair short and silver for years. Simple. Neat. Me. But one morning, I walked into the kitchen and found Mary scrolling on her phone, and she says, not even looking up, "You know, if you dyed your hair and got some bangs, you might actually look alive." Alive. As if I had died and was now haunting my own kitchen in orthopedic slippers. I smiled, sweetly. Then I did something unexpected. I booked a professional photo session. Not glamour shots, not some sad golden years tribute. I told the photographer, "Make me look like someone they shouldn't underestimate." We shot in my garden, in my favorite clothes, with my dog, in that coat. And I looked good. Not young, not trendy. Good. I posted the photos to Facebook, where my real friends, the ones from church, the ones from book club, the ones from the years before I became just mom, commented things like, You look powerful. Elegant as ever, Helen. Show them how it's done. Mary found out the next day, and her face? Pure panic. What is this? She asked, holding up her phone like I'd posted a crime scene. It's me, I said. Just me. Not edited, not softened. Just me. She was quiet. For once. But then came the whispering. The late-night conversations I wasn't supposed to hear. I'm old, sure. Not deaf. Mom's losing it, I heard her say to someone. She's doing weird things, spending money, posting photos like she's starting a dating profile. And then, the line that burned, we need to have a conversation about control. Ah, there it was. Not care, not support, control. They wanted the passwords, the checkbook, the power of attorney. They wanted to wrap me in a nice, quiet cocoon and tuck me away like a liability. So, I played along, nodded, smiled, listened to their concerns. Then I got my own lawyer. Quietly, efficiently, legally. I updated my will, transferred the house into a trust, one that couldn't be touched without my signature, moved my money, all of it. I left just enough in the joint account to keep the lights on, and let them think they still had access. Meanwhile, I made friends with a local journalist. Why? Because sometimes the best revenge isn't yelling. It's telling your story, loudly, publicly, and with your full name. But that's for later. Because just when I thought things couldn't get worse, they pulled the stunt that made my blood go cold. This is the moment everything shifts. What comes next is the storm they never saw coming. And I made damn sure they felt it. Stay close. The real reckoning begins now. You ever get the feeling people are waiting for you to die? Not dramatically, but just quietly. That feeling showed up the morning I opened the cabinet, and my medication was gone. Gone. Blood pressure, cholesterol. The vitamins my doctor insists I still take, even though I eat like a damn dietitian. All of it. Missing. I checked the bathroom. Nothing. Kitchen drawer? Empty. Checked my nightstand 3 times. Then I found the bottles. In a shoebox. In the garage. Labeled, extra. Extra. Let me say something real clear. I may be old, but I'm not disposable. And I am not your extra. When I confronted Mary, she didn't even try to lie. I was just trying to organize things, she said, using that calm, condescending tone people use when they're talking to children or someone they think is 2 months away from memory loss. I asked her if she'd like it if someone hid her birth control pills. She didn't laugh. Mom, she said, you've been different lately. Impulsive. Posting photos, changing passwords, acting like you don't need us. I leaned in, stared her dead in the eye, and said, I don't. She blinked, confused. Because in her mind, I was supposed to need her, to validate her, to make her feel useful after the wreck of her marriage. But she'd mistaken access for appreciation. That afternoon, they staged a little meeting, Zach included. The 2 of them sat me down in the living room like I was being called to the principal's office. Grandma, Zach said, crossing his legs like a YouTube therapist. We're just worried. About what? I asked. About your behavior. You've been distant, secretive, paranoid. Paranoid? You want to talk paranoid? Try living with 2 people who treat your life like a clearance sale and think they deserve the leftovers. We think it would be helpful, Mary added, if we took on more responsibility. Ah, there it was. The mask slipped. Responsibility equals control. We can help you, she said, smiling with the warmth of a snake under a heat lamp. With your finances, your appointments, your decisions. I paused, looked around the room. The same walls I'd painted with my own hands, the same photos they never dusted, the same chair where I held my husband's hand as he told me not to let them take me for granted. So I stood up, walked to the kitchen, grabbed the folder I'd been keeping in the freezer. The freezer? Who would check there? And brought it back. Inside, a notarized letter. Trust documentation. New financial designations. Updated will. I handed it to Mary. She opened it slowly. As she read, her face went pale like the color drained straight into the rug. "What is this?" Her voice cracked. "This," I said, "is a reminder that I am not your property. This house is not your inheritance, and I am not your problem to manage." Zach shifted uncomfortably. Mary tried to regroup. "You didn't even talk to us about this. We're your family." "No," I said. "You're my guests, and guests don't rearrange the furniture while the owner's still sitting in the damn chair." She tried to cry, tried to guilt me, tried to spin it into, "We were just worried." But I didn't flinch. Because the real kicker? I'd already found a small legal apartment above the florist's downtown. Bright windows, quiet neighbors, and no one asking me what decade I think I'm living in. That night, I packed a single suitcase, took my coat, my photos, my recipes, and left. Left them the house, but not the deed. Left them the fridge, but not the money. Left them my absence, which, frankly, had more presence than either of them could handle. The next morning, I walked into the flower shop with a fresh sense of oxygen in my lungs. The owner, Grace, a 60-something woman with white hair and zero time for nonsense, smiled. "First morning of your new life?" she asked. "First breath," I said. I sat by the window with a cup of tea and watched the sunlight hit my coat. That same coat. The one they said made me look older, weaker, outdated, irrelevant. But you know what it made me look like today? Free. And just when I thought I'd found peace, the phone rang, and the voice on the other end, let's just say, they were about to learn what strength really looks like. Stick around for part 4. It ends exactly the way it should. I'd been gone for 6 days. 6 gloriously quiet, clean, independent days. My new apartment above the flower shop smelled like lavender, fresh-cut stems, and personal space. No one had asked me why I was wearing the same coat twice. No one made snide comments about decluttering my life by throwing out everything that meant something to me. No one tried to gaslight me into believing I was fading. Then the phone rang. Not my cell, my landline, the one I only gave to a handful of people, my lawyer, the flower shop owner, and my daughter. I let it ring twice, 3 times. I considered not picking up. But curiosity is a powerful thing when you've been underestimated for years. "Hello," I said, cool as marble. Silence. Then a voice I knew too well. "Mom?" Her tone wasn't sharp this time. No edge, just small. "Are you okay?" she asked. I looked out the window, watching Grace trim roses in the shop below. "I'm more than okay," she exhaled. We weren't expecting you to go like that. Zach's been asking about you." "Oh, now he remembers I exist?" It came out before I could stop it. But I didn't regret it. "I'm sorry," she said quietly. "I think we went too far." "You think?" I wanted to lash out. List every insult, every humiliation, every time I made dinner while they acted like I was wallpaper. But something stopped me. Not forgiveness, not forgetfulness, power. For the first time in years, I had the power. And it didn't look like screaming. It looked like choice. So I said this. "You know, Mary, it's funny. For the past few years, you made me feel like my presence was a burden. like my age was something to fix, hide, or apologize for. But now that I'm not there, you're finally realizing the weight I carried, and the weight I lifted for both of you. She sniffled. I miss you. I nodded, even though she couldn't see it. I miss me too, I said, but I like this new version better. This version doesn't shrink to make room for people who don't see her worth. Silence again. Then she asked the thing I knew was coming. Can we come visit? Now, here's where old me, the guilt-ridden, bend-over-backwards me, would have said yes. Set the table. Made pie. Pretended nothing happened. But new me leaned back, looked at the photo of my younger self on the mantel, confident, upright, wearing that same coat, and said, not yet. Right now, I'm spending time with people who make me feel seen. Maybe when you're ready to do that too, not just say it, we'll talk. Click. That was it. I hung up, made a cup of tea, and went downstairs to help Grace with a wedding arrangement. When I walked in, she looked up from a bouquet of white peonies and said, You look different today. I smiled. Freedom suits me. That evening, I sat in my armchair, reading a book I hadn't touched in years. No background noise, no tension in the air. Just me, my coat, my tea, and the soft hum of being fully, finally, alive. Moral of the story: aging doesn't make you weak, but surrendering to people who treat you like a burden, that will break you faster than time ever could. You don't have to yell to be heard, but you do have to walk away sometimes to remind them what silence costs.